So for pool accessories on this guy here, this is a C2 long answer style question. The most important part of these guys is knowing what X and Y are labeled as. The next most important thing is knowing that there are 3 people involved in this and that you have 2 different boxes. One is a solar pool cover, one is a mesh net. Why is that important? Is because when you look down here, it says solar pool cover for Carlo's pool. So that means I'm only going to be working with the information in this box for this part here. The one that's next, we won't do this. I'm not going to go through it just yet. I just want to kind of highlight which box I would use for each step. The next step would be mesh net for this 8192 because it says mesh net and Carlo's pool. So important that we know that both of these, Carlo's pool is going to be the same size. It has to be the same size. Okay. The third one says mesh net, but for Liang's pool. Okay. Different person now. I don't know the size of that pool. I just know right now that he has a mesh net. So I'll be working in this one still. And then last, it says radius of Raphael's is 0.9 larger. That doesn't really work with any one of these. It's just telling me that Raphael's is a bigger pool. So that's not really going to either of these. And then the last part says, how much does a solar pool cover cost for Raphael's pool? So this one, how much, that one goes back to here. So it's just important to know which box essentially that you're working with. What I will do, because I'm going to pause this and let you try it on your own, and then walk around and see where you're at. The first step, a solar pool cover for Carlo's pool costs $102.40. So if we think about it, Carlo, and I'll put in brackets solar, because I need to remind myself that that's where I'm working. You don't have to do that. That's just more for an explanation. If I write out Y, A, X like we had on our memory aid, A is 10. Solar pool cover for Carlos cost 102. All right. Which one is cost, Y or X? Y. So that means 102.40 is a Y value, which means X is what is unknown. So now I know how to solve it using that procedure there. This is my rule. 102.40 is equal to a known value of 10 and then X squared. Go ahead and try and solve that on your own from there. I just want to pop this guy up here and just pause. So basically on this guy here, I kind of ran through without hitting record again. We divide by 10 first, square root both the X squared and the 1024, and I end up with X is equal to 3.2. That is going to be the size of Carlo's pool. So the important part here now to remember, once I use a number, like in that bullet set, I don't use it again. People will get caught in a trap of wanting to use, no, once I use it once, I'm done. The next thing says mesh net for Carlo's pool costs $81.92. Now I've already drawn the arrow indicating that mesh net means I'm using the mesh net box and all the information within it. You'll notice on the mesh net, there's nothing where the A is. So the A is unknown, but the A defines the rule. So let's actually just label what I have. So I'm going to put down Carlo and put in mesh, different box. The Y, they said, is the cost of $81.92. The A in this case is unknown for the mesh net, but the X is 3.2. Why is it 3.2? Because Carlo's pool size did not change from the pool cover to the mesh cover and all that stuff, or whatever it is. So then now I'm just going to solve using this function, but plugging in 8192, looking for A when X is 3.2. Now I'll be able to go ahead and say, okay, go to my memory aid, looking for A, I square first, then I divide. So 8192A, 3.2 squared, I know is going to be 1024 because kind of just did that over there. and then I'll divide both sides. Divide both sides, and I think it's something like a is 8. Okay. So A is 8. Now, what's important? That guy is more important than any of the other answers I get because now, and if you do this, I'm going to give you bonus marks on your actual exam, or I'll just give you marks because you've identified that. You now know that for MeshNet, that's the rule. So just me writing that in there tells me that you know that this 8 is kind of more important than the 3.2. It's more important than any of the other ones because now I have the rule for the MeshNet and I can reuse that guy over and over and over again. So from there, I would go, it says MeshNet for Liang's pool. Different name, so I'm going to label it differently. Liang, but mesh. And for Liang mesh, I can now plug in, well, I know it's another Y value because it says cost. I now know that the A is 8, but I don't know the size of his pool. Go to the memory aid. What do I do when I solve for an X? Well, this is the rule. I plug in what I know, 8x squared. So we know that we divide first, and then 1369. So 1369. Perfect. So then now I'm going to I divide by the 8. I'm going to take the square root of both, this guy and this guy. So x is equal to 3.7. Questions on that?
It's got to do with that. I used this y, and then I used the same length as Carlos pool, and then I got 0.69, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. So the only thing with that is what I was saying here, the 3.2, and this is why it's important to know both the box that you're working in and the name of the person. So for Carlo, his size is only going to be 3.2. Once I go to Liang, that's going to be an unknown one. But what's important now is that the A is a transferable commodity, right? I'm going to be reusing that guy because that's part of the rule. Yeah. Yeah. So Bradley, no. So the last part of this is saying the radius of Raphael's pool is 0.9 larger than the radius of Liang's. So at the end, I'm going to put Raphael, and I'm going to say solar pool because that's what it's asking for me to solve. I don't know a cost on this guy. The A is still 10. That did not change. But his is going to be 3.7 plus 0.9. So his pool size is 4.6. So from here, y is equal to 10 times 4.6 squared. Y is going to be equal to 4.6 squared. 10 times 21.16. 211.6. So that's how much he would be spending on that solar pool.
The radius not that.
So it's saying the radius of, well, here, go look at it again.
Well, I took I took 3.2 from
Yeah.
Carlo, and then I divided by 2 to get the radius, because it's half, which is 1.6.
But they were originally giving us the radius. It's because it says X is radius of the pool. Yeah. So that's that weird part, right? Like I totally get it. If they had said diameter, then you have to get in that game. What I will say about grade 10, don't worry about units and stuff. Like all that grade 9 stuff you used to have to do, like when they're using weird, you don't have to really do that anymore. You don't even really have to denote like units per se. Like I've never even really seen it where they're like, make sure you tell me what it is in centimeters squared. It'll actually just say, what is the answer? I'll put it in the corner, and then it'll put next to it. I'll actually put the units for you. Like it's funny, like grade 9 like takes you all the way up to this point, and then it's just like, never mind all that stuff. You're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.